Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. We have a revelation, although it will come as a surprise to very few people. We've always suspected that there was a political delay in the issuing of the warrant to go and search Nicola Sturgeon's home. We all knew that it was deliberately done until after the election, because they knew that had it been done before the election, it would have radically changed the outcome. And so there was a delay in place. And how do we know this? Well, we're going to take a look at this article and it will fully explain the details as to why. But let us just say that the Lord Advocate received the request for the warrant a week before the election. He then sat on it for 9 days before issuing it after the election. We all know, of course, that had he done it beforehand, the election would have been a very different affair. So I think it's questions need to be asked of the Lord Advocate. But there again, it'll be quite easy to find him. He is, after all, a member of the cabinet of the SNP government. So it's not as though he doesn't have a vested interest. Is it about time that those particular powers are removed from anyone who is in government? Undoubtedly, yes. But let's have a look at this article in full and see what the hell is going on and why the justice system in Scotland is so corrupt. Here goes. So the Crown Office only gave Nicola Sturgeon home raid the green light after the SNP contest. Police had asked for a warrant to be issued a week before polls closed in the contest eventually won by Humza Yousaf. But it was only issued on April the 3rd, a week after he became the SNP leader, because the person issuing it was had vested interests in delaying it, because of course she knew that if she could delay it, then it wouldn't affect the result of the election. She is a member of the cabinet. She undoubtedly let them know. She undoubtedly told them. It gives them 2 weeks to, get rid of, destroy evidence, get their story straight, sort out everything. And having this undoubted political influence, because she knew that the SNP needed their man to get in. And if she'd have released this earlier, their man would not have got in. Kate Forbes would have got in, and that would have been an absolute humiliating disaster for both Sturgeon and Murrel. And that is what's happened. Anyway, the Crown Office delayed a decision on whether to OK a raid on Nicola Sturgeon's home until after the SNP leadership race was over. It has emerged. And of course, the Lord Advocate, she needs to be prosecuted. I mean, she needs investigating for this, because there's no way she should have that power to delay that. That needs to be questioned. That she needs to be in a court of law and answering these questions under oath with the threat of a long jail sentence. Anyway, getting back, officers swooped on the house which Miss Sturgeon shares with her husband Peter Murrel on April the 5th, over a week after Humza Yousaf was installed as leader. He would never have been installed had it happened when the police asked. And I'm afraid it is down to the Crown Office. The police went there a week before. And there's the other thing. How has it taken that length of time? Because they eventually got it on the 3rd of April, but they didn't go in on the raid until the 5th. Now, there's no way police would wait that long if they think there's evidence there. So again, even the delay must be down to senior officers holding off and probably being told to hold off and delay it and delay it and delay it, because they needed, say, Humza Yousaf to get his first speech out of the way as leader, and so he wouldn't be questioned about the police raid. Again, that is a political thing. Why is the politics overriding justice? It's terrible. Anyway. Yes, it's now been reported that Police Scotland had asked for the warrants to be issued in relation to a probe into Nat Party finances on March the 20th. This is a week before voting closed. Supporters of Mr Yousaf's leadership rivals have previously suggested the result of the race could have been different if the arrest of Murrel had taken place before the poll closed. This is disgusting, and it shows you the justice system in Scotland no longer exists. There is no justice. There is no rule of law anymore. But it has now been reported that Police Scotland had asked for warrants to be issued in relation to the probe at Nat Party finances on the 20th of March, a week before voting closed. Supporters of Mr Yousaf's leadership rivals have previously suggested the result of the race could have been different if the arrest of Murrel had taken place before the poll closed, and it undoubtedly would. It would have massively changed things. And so that poll can no longer be seen as legitimate. It must be rerun. If that has been held under political reasons by the Lord Advocate, purely for that poll is illegal, it is wrong, and he is not the genuine leader of the party. I mean, he's not anyway. He has no authority, but he should not be regarded as the leader. Let that poll be rerun if he dares. If he is confident that he can win that under a legal, fair fight, let him prove it. He won't, of course, because he has got zero chance of winning that election. It's only the fact that the entire establishment pulled out everything they could get to get him across that line. And even then, he scraped through. Put him on a fair one-to-one fight with Forbes, and he would not be leader. Both Kate Forbes, who only narrowly lost to Mr Yousaf, and Ash Regan had questioned Murrel's position as the SNP chief executive during the contest, while Mr Yousaf presented himself as the continuity candidate. Continuity crook, one wonders. Prosecutors are now being called on to explain the 2-week wait in giving the go-ahead for the search to take place. Would you get a 2-week wait if the police were going, well, we think there's a crime in this location, we think there's pharmaceuticals here, we think this person's done this crime? Would there be a 2-week wait? Let me answer that question. No, they damn well wouldn't. We all know it. The only reason this was sat on for 2 weeks was because of the political ramifications of having that raid done before the election and before the ruling party, who decides the timing of the raid, has got its man where they want him to be. This is disgusting. It stinks. It's corrupt. Every single person involved is corrupt, and there's no way Humza Yousaf should be considered. He should stand down immediately. A police source told the Scottish Sun that cases with the potential for huge political ramifications would have this taken into consideration before decisions were made. However, the Crown Office has denied any suggestions it wanted to wait until after the leadership contest was over. Well, of course it's going to deny that. It's going to lie its way out of trouble. It's never, ever going to tell the truth on this, that it was ordered to absolutely delay this until it was over because, politics. Tory MSP Russell Findlay said it was vital that any issues about timings and procedures are made clear to the public, and the Labour Deputy Leader Jackie Bailey raised concerns over a potential conflict of interest given that the head of the Crown Office, the Lord Advocate, is also a member of the Scottish Cabinet. Dorothy Bain KC is available to offer legal advice to ministers, and she definitely will be giving advice along the lines of, I'm about to sign a warrant, I will delay it as long as I can, please get rid of all the evidence, get rid of everything you can and get your story straight. Meanwhile, I'll make sure your man is across the line before I issue this warrant. About 2 weeks should do it, yes? Good on you. You wonder how much she's making out of this. Miss Bailey said the interesting revelation will lead to raised eyebrows across Scotland. It should lead to pitchforks and burning torches across Scotland, clamouring at the gates of Holyrood, demanding justice, demanding heads roll, and demanding another leadership election. And anyone who is in the SNP, regardless of who you supported, must see that this is not the correct result. And if you are happy to go along with this result, it goes to show that you are happy with the corruption at the highest level and that you, as a member, are not listened to. They don't care what you think. You might have chosen the one they wanted this time, but what about your next time? Your vote won't count if you're not going along the lines that they want you to go. So even members of the SNP need to be clamouring for this and need to be asking questions and need to demand an absolute rerun of that election. According to The Sun, the search warrant was eventually issued on Monday, April the 3rd, 2 days before the raid on Miss Sturgeon's home. And why a 2-day delay for that? Cops spent almost 2 days at the property, collecting items and conducting a search of the property. A raid on that HQ in Edinburgh also took place on April the 5th. And they're not just telling us that various, interested parties were arrested and released without charge. We don't care. And then the Scottish officer saying they can't comment because it's an ongoing investigation. Yeah, but somebody will need to comment, and hopefully in a court of law while he or she is being prosecuted. There's lots of them are going to need to stand there and be prosecuted, starting at the very top. I mean, really starting with Humza Yousaf, but working all the way down. Every staffer, everyone who knows anything, needs to be investigated, needs to be prosecuted wherever appropriate. This cannot stand. This result cannot stand. And this level of contempt for the law in Scotland must never be allowed to stand. I'm rounding off and coming up. As I say, none of us are particularly surprised by this revelation that it was a political delay caused by the Crown Office, headed, of course, by a cabinet member. No way should a cabinet member actually be allowed to delay an investigation into the actions of its own government. Those actions must be free, independent, and at the whim of someone who is not involved. There is no independent justice if this is allowed. Yes, we need to have a full election again. The only way Humza Yousaf can be seen as the legitimate leader is if he announces another election and fights it. Because without it, he is not the legitimate leader. He can never be seen as a legitimate leader. And it now stinks. He is personally tainted. He's tainted with this revelation. And he's also tainted with his connections to the previous regime. The continuity candidate indeed. Let's see if he did run again. Would he still be using that title? I suspect not. But it is just great to see the SNP riven again with just constant accusations of cronyism, of corruption, of scratching backs. It is basically one giant organised crime circle jerk. And they are one bunch of jerks, aren't they? Anyway, I shall round off and say thank you very much for listening to this video. It's been great. So until next time, stay safe, stay well. Don't forget to hit the like button, and goodbye.